The galaxy is at peace now. True peace, in fact, now that the generation of fear for all races but my own have gone. Peace was achieved in that generation of lives in the galaxy, but through sheer, unadulterated fear. It was not true peace if every sentient in the galaxy is living in fear. That's why you're here to interview me, isn't it? I'm the last sentient alive who lived through the generation of fear, aren't I? The reporter across from me nods and gestures for me to continue. Who would have thought that out of all the races, mine would end up being the most long-lived after them? So many others are gone now. So many deaths. So much tragedy. But I find all of it to have been worth it in the end, as now the galaxy knows peace. Before your generation, in the generation of fear, there was a race who witnessed the atrocities the old council committed. They were a new race, and they were treated the same as any new race was. They were used as slaves, as food, as cattle, and the many other things. This sent the new species into a rage, of course, as is always the case. But they were suppressed. The gap in technology, numbers, and power was too much. As punishment for insubordination towards the ways of the council, they had their homeworld taken away from them. They were scattered to the galaxy, and not a single species did a single thing. It was the status quo. The weak were whatever the strong wanted them to be. There was no atrocity too great, and seemingly no sense of morals in those powerful species. They all lived for centuries, if not millennia. They thought they were better than everyone else and had twisted senses of entertainment. The galaxy, back then, was a cruel place, and nobody stepped out of line lest they anger the strong. Genocide was a new term, but not a new action for the strong in that day. There was no peace, not even through fear back then. War was hourly, if not waged and made by the minute. No species was safe. Not high-technology species who could jump a third of the galaxy in one go. Not the tribals who barely figured out copper tools. Nobody was safe at that time. There were no trade ships in space then, only warships. I've caught myself rambling. Let me get back to the point. Apologies, my age is getting to me. That species I mentioned before, the new one, turned into slaves and all the other terrible fates. Their name was humanity, and after losing their homeworld they grew quiet. This delighted the strong races, who now had quiet, obedient slaves, or whatever else they needed. The humans were strong and could work for long durations due to being persistence hunters. The strong races loved the humans for every aspect they had, the only exception being that they would complain about the slow breeding rate. I know this because my race was similar. Endurance hunters, but with lower strength and stamina than the humans. My people used to be the preferred slave race, but the humans took our spot. We were all too happy about it too. With the spotlight off of us, the beatings, killings, and brutal labor lessened significantly. But also we felt pity for the humans and a deep burning rage that this was done to yet another species. The rage we had to bury deep in our hearts. Rage led to stupid actions if not tamed. Stupid actions led to immediate deaths, and so they were made very rarely. Then, one day in the slave chambers, a human passed me a note. It was in my native language, in Valuna. To this day I remember the words on the note. I think they engraved themselves on my very soul. There will be peace. There is too much focus on humanity right now, but you, having been in this place once, know how things run. Get access codes, by hook or by crook. Gather innocuous items, books, pens, anything. If you wish to end this, help us. That note inspired hope in me in ways I cannot put to words. It also gave me a way to channel the rage deep in my heart. I spread the note to others, those who could be trusted not to tell the strong. Over the course of 3 years, the humans took apart the innocuous items and disassembled them. They then taught me a new term, jerry-rigging. They turned all of these items into weapons, lockpicks, and all kinds of equipment. Everything they thought they might need. Our facility wasn't an isolated event either, as human slaves were shipped in and out. New ones would teach us. Old ones would take their lessons to other facilities. Then we received word of the day of revolt. 1 more year. We had to suffer. For only one more year, and then the revolt would begin. At this point, every slave in our facility was on board with the plan. All those little tattletales suffered unfortunate accidents to make sure none of our plans would leak. Replacements, double agents, were sent in to take their place, telling the strong only what we wanted them to know. That year passed slowly and quickly, all at the same time, and when it was up, there was chaos. We poisoned water, food, everything they consumed, and took antidotes beforehand. Millions died in our world alone in a matter of hours. The surviving strong members were overwhelmed by numbers. Bunker codes overrode and secret bases invaded. Networks infiltrated, and warships hijacked. It took a week to finish up at our facility, but at the end there was no strong race members left to put us down. Their warships in orbit had been taken over by the slaves up there as well. The planet fell to the Human Alliance. Humanity took a new home world from the strong. They took their technology and started to study and reverse engineer it. Several other slave species decided to join the Human Alliance. The humans were clever, too. They sent out fake signals, produced image rendering tech that would imitate the strong on video calls. A year. It was an entire year before we were discovered, and the strong races sent a fleet to attempt to take back their world. The fleet was obliterated, and humanity began its counterattack. No large warships, no fleets, none of that. No. The humans would drop pods, millions, billions of them across the galaxy. On every strong world, several drop pods would be sent. Inside of those drop pods had horrors. The humans took every cruelty laid upon them, condensed it by 1,000-fold, and then released them. I won't say what was in those pods, nor will anyone else who helped load them. Some things are best left unsaid, and everyone else who knows is dead or human. Just know Cyclone 3 is the luckiest world of them all. I'm sure you all know of the zombie plagues that are still present on that world, but there are worse things out there than that. Much, much worse. This, though, was just the beginning. The sound of the starting gun going off. Humanity was far from done, and over the next 10 years, me and every other member of the Human Alliance fought. Not through drones or diseases or anything else. We landed on planets and slaughtered our way through those strong species. With each mile we cleared on each planet, we gained more and more fighters. Slaves who joined our forces, who willingly killed the traitors among their ranks. All said and done, after decades of war, the Human Alliance has shed enough blood to create whole stars with it. Dozens of species went extinct. Each and every one of them had previously been the strong. Now they are the gone in our books. At the end of it, no strong races remained. Only the Human Alliance and the hundreds of slave races. But seeing what humanity was capable of, all but 11 races listened to them, only out of fear. No, not fear. More like unadulterated terror. Thus began the generation of fear. For the last 200 years, every race was terrified to poke their heads out. Terrified to commit a wrong act and draw the ire of the humans. But over time, the worries abated. People learned, and humanity uplifted others. They made it clear. No genocide, no slavery, no biowarfare. They listed out rules for the galaxy to follow. Something called the Geneva Convention document. So long as no laws upon that document are broken, humanity could care less about what the other races do. Now, as I make my way to the end of my own lifespan, I can do so at peace, knowing that the galaxy is at peace. People no longer look at one another as resources, but as people, as other sentient beings. Trade is galaxy-wide. Relief programs and free benefits for the sick are commonplace. The hungry are fed, the sick are treated, the primitive tribal people are left alone to develop. The high-technology races who wish to simply be left alone are given their space. It took over 2 centuries of planning, fighting, and genocide. But humanity brought peace to the galaxy at long last. 10 millennia of cruelty, death, slavery, and a million other things came to a close. Now then, I'm sorry, I'd love to tell you more, but my time is coming to a close. I fought to give you your peace. Now please, allow me to have mine. The reporter nods her head, and as the life monitor slowly reads zeros across the board, lowers her head and utters a quiet, "Thank you," to pay her respects.